I have 3 kids, all girls, 9, 5, and 5 months. Sometimes I have to eat at work to make sure my kids eat at home because sometimes there's not enough to supply for everybody. My mother, she have allowed us to, live here for the time being until we save up enough that we can live on our own.
Shenita Simon is one of the thousands of fast food workers rallying for higher wages and the right to unionize. The protests started in New York in November 2012 and have since spread nationwide. Organizers say this is the biggest labor rights movement in the industry's history.
So we are here today to highlight the pervasive conditions within the fast food industry, not only just poverty wages that are being paid to workers all over this city and all over this country, but the fact that workers are also having their wages stolen.
The movement, known as Fast Food Forward, is demanding wages increase to $15 an hour. Minimum wage in New York is $7.25.
I was told when I was offered the job, I would be getting $8.25. I never saw $8.25 a day in my life. I'm getting paid $7.75 as a supervisor, and I was hired at $7.25 as a cashier.
Shenita also claims that her employer, the Brownsville Brooklyn KFC, does not pay her in full every month.
Last year, my check was split several times. I would work 60 hours, and they would put 30 hours on this check, and they would take the remaining 30 hours and split it into 4 or 5 checks. Which is not fair.
The National Restaurant Association, which represents fast food chains, declined a request for an interview, but said in a statement that raising the minimum wage would leave them with no choice but to lay off workers. Christopher Flynn, a professor of economics who focuses on labor issues, says forcing companies to raise wages may not necessarily help workers.
If I raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour for fast food workers, unemployment's going to increase. There's going to be fewer vacancies there. These firms will try to automate even more than they're automated already.
According to KFC employee Joseph Barrera, the issue is not just the amount of the minimum wage, it's also that his hours fluctuate month to month.
I'm still making $7.25. I live in a dungeon basically because I can't afford a stable rent. One month I may make $800, one month I may make $400, and if I work more than 40 hours, I might hit $1,000 if I'm lucky.
Barrera is a 23-year-old high school graduate who is currently living with his uncle because he can't afford a place of his own. He joined the movement in February.
The reason I got involved is the same reason that everybody's getting involved. Life is getting harder and harder to live with these wages. It's the poster from the strike. The I'm a Man poster's right there. I have that one. This is my favorite one. I like this one. A man take care of his business. A man can support his family. How much business can you handle if you only make $100 a week, The
deal is that you can't survive on that, but the thing is, it's not up to the employer to ensure that a condition for your welfare. That's not the employer's problem.
Minimum wage requirements are set by the federal, state, or city governments, but without unions, fast food workers have little sway in politics.
Their work conditions aren't horrible. Really the worst part is just the compensation, because the compensation really defines your entire life. If you make a certain amount of money, then you're kind of like, you're stuck.
The fast food industry is one industry. It doesn't dictate the terms of wages and so on for this level skilled worker. Unfortunately, I think it's a reflection of the state of the overall labor market. People can't find reasonable jobs, what would have been reasonable jobs for someone of their age and education level, let's say 35, 40 years ago. And so now they've just ended up in these jobs for lack of any better alternative.
In the summer of 2013, protests spread to more than 60 cities. Earlier in the year, President Obama called on Congress to raise the federal minimum wage to $9 an hour and to automatically adjust with inflation. But back in Brownsville, Shenita's situation doesn't seem to be getting any better.
My husband is jumping from job to job. We're managing on my check right now, so therefore we can't afford our own place. I try not to complain. I try to count my blessings for what they are, because I know something is gonna come better. I know we are gonna win this campaign. You know, how long is the question?